My name is Falcone, this is Lorinda, and we are back for day 2 of G-Star Korea versus the World.
Korea versus the World was how it started, and it's going to be how it finishes. We've got 2 Koreans in the first semi-final and 2 in the other semi-final from Europe.
Yeah.
Wow.
So whatever happens, we are going to have a Korea versus the World final.
That's what I was trying to say.
Which is exactly what we wanted. Like when we came to this event, the whole story is Korea versus the World, and we are going to get that. But before we do, we have 2 very exciting semi-finals coming up.
Right, the Planet Odd came in with 2 of the rest of the world players. They now have none. The 2 players who beat them were Sooni and SeolDaBi. They're going to be in this first semi-final. Very experienced player in Sooni. He's been to the Hearthstone team championships, that sort of stuff. And SeolDaBi, the notes we have on him is the word rookie. But he didn't play like a rookie yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, rookie does seem a little bit harsh. We were talking about this yesterday. He's clearly an experienced player. He's done really well to qualify for this event. These Korean players had to go through a lot of rounds to get here. And I mean, the prize pool is huge. So it's no huge surprise that they had to work for it.
Yeah, I don't know where the first rounds were shown, but they had to go through 5 preliminary rounds, then a top 16 group phase, then a top 8 group phase to get to the top 4 Koreans. And now they're taking on the rest of the world. They've just beaten Zigzo and Ahoy. So yeah, playing for a first prize of around $18,000, give or take.
Yeah, that's pretty big as far as Hearthstone prize pools go. And it's a pretty big event. But anyways, moving on, we just talked about round 1 coming up today. Pavel versus Orange.
Who?
Now, what does that mean, Lorinda? Tell me how big that match is.
That is a massive matchup. There's a lot of friendly-ish banter behind the scenes with Orange and Pavel, but you wonder how friendly it is at times. Orange putting Pavel 1 game away from the World Championships, out of defending his title. So that'll be Orange's big break. But the 2 are good friends, but they're also pretty bitter rivals at the same time.
They're both very big characters. Like, again, being here with them, we've had the pleasure of getting to spend some time with them. And Orange is very quiet. He's very calm. He's very chill. Pavel's quite a big character.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he'll shout things. He'll have you can have a laugh with him. Like, he's a great guy. But then when you get in the ring with him, so to speak,
right,
that's when he gets scary.
Yeah, that's when Orange is starting to get scary. He never used to be particularly terrifying to face. He was good at the game, but now he's actually becoming more fierce as a competitor as well. And his goals are win everything. I mean, he said he was goal-driven. Well, his goals are just keep winning stuff. Next up, the World Championships, but first stop is Korea. And a 2nd win in a row over Pavel would be nice for him.
Yep. At the same time, Pavel would like his revenge. Orange is the reason Pavel did not get through to Worlds this year. So it'd be nice for Pavel to get one over on him as well.
Just show the prize pools there, by the way. You can roughly translate those into dollars, except you take the 3 noughts off the end. You take a tiny bit off, like it's $20,000 is near enough. It's about 18, and so on.
Yeah, so unfortunately, those that were eliminated in the first round of this tournament, or of this weekend rather, the players from Planet Odd, for example, they're only going home with around $900, something like that.
$1 million. They won $1 million.
I mean, if you put it that way, it sounds much better.
Yeah.
They'd certainly have preferred to win $1 million.
Yeah, hope I'm winning $1 million for my pay. That'd be fine. So.
But then the players that did win yesterday, they're already feeling a little bit more comfortable because the amount of money that they got just for winning that 1 round, that's a huge bump.
That was an interesting Orange anecdote, actually. He says he doesn't look at the prize structure. He knows what the prize pool is because you're told, but he didn't want. When we told him, look, well done, you've won the hard round, the one that you go home with virtually nothing or 5,000. He's like, how do you mean? And we explained, he's like, I just don't look. I don't like to know what's on each round. I don't want to put the pressure on myself. I just want to win the tournament and then I'll be fine.
He just wants every game to be equal in terms of pressure, I suppose. Alternatively, Pavel, he said something similar, but very, very different to me yesterday. He said, I don't bother looking at the price structure. The only one that matters is first place.
Yeah, it's different reasoning. Yeah, same answer, but different reasoning. He just wants to win. Orange just wants to keep the pressure level through the day.
As you can see, Sooni beat Hoi with a 3-1 score yesterday. It was actually the only game that didn't go all the way to game 5.
Yeah, Hoi queued up Zoo 3 times in a row, lost 3 times in a row. That Zoo deck with no Fireflies didn't do it for him.
No Firefly, had a lot of 3-drops.
Yeah.
We had fledglings, we had captains, we had councilmans. It didn't work. So Sooni looking very calm, collected. He is he's the non-rookie.
Yeah, I mean, he's won the Hearthstone Team Championship here in Asia, whereas SeolDaBi, we are told, is a rookie, but again, yesterday, he played pretty well in that final game against Zixo.
I think we agreed after he beat Zixo, we were actually going to scrub the word rookie off of his
then we've
record.
got nothing to say about him. That's the only word on his record.
It is the only word they gave us. Yeah, the Koreans here were kind enough to give us some information on the local players. We got a lot of information about how they qualified, the decks they qualified with, but we didn't get much information other than that except the word rookie.
A lot of discussion about that game 5 backstage between Zixo and SeolDaBi yesterday, where SeolDaBi played a Doomsayer. It was Control Paladin versus Control Mage. Nobody back there knows what is favoured. We didn't know at the time.
No,
we
they
were on
didn't
other
know.
sides of the fence.
That made us feel a bit better,
yeah,
didn't it?
Like we were discussing. I thought it was Mage favoured. Falcone thought it was Paladin favoured. They don't know. What they do know is Zixo should not have pinged his Acolyte into Doomsayer, and he ended up losing in Fatigue a million turns later because he was so far ahead in the Fatigue.
And it's funny because at the time we were even talking about it.
Right.
We were saying this game probably goes to Fatigue. Who wins in Fatigue? And I remember you said exactly, well, it looks like Zixo doesn't think he loses in Fatigue because he's pinging his Acolyte right now.
Yeah, it's good to get one right for once, especially when you're talking about the best players in the world.
But yeah, so SeolDaBi, he knows what he's doing in the Fatigue matches. It'll be interesting to see if he's brought the same decks today. The players were actually allowed to change their deck lists. We were wrong yesterday when we thought that they had to keep the same one all the way through. So you were right yesterday when you were saying that maybe Pavel didn't research his opponent when he created the deck list specifically for his opponent.
Right.
They could have done that. They were literally targeting each other, and then they were allowed to change their decks moving forward.
Yeah, so Pavel did research him, but he only went back 1 round.
Yeah.
So he thought he was just like random aggro guy, which any pro player out there, if you're playing against a guy you don't know, there's no information on them, you assume they're a random aggro guy. He looked at the top 8 in the Korean section, saw he played aggro decks, and just went random aggro guy.
Yep.
If he'd gone back 1 more round, he'd have seen that SeolDaBi brought 4 control decks to that round, and that actually can play a wide variety of different stuff.
But I think this camera shot means that a game of Hearthstone is just about to start.
Ah.
I apologize, Twitch chat, if this is just a debate. We should be good though.
World Esports Games and Leagues here at G-Stars 17. We haven't stressed enough yet today. If you watched yesterday, we're going to bore the pants off you now. This event is absolutely massive.
Just check Twitter.
Yeah.
Just check Twitter. You can see photos of just how big this crowd is. But let's begin game number 1.
Okay, so both players, we didn't see the class. They both got Rogue Druid Priest. That's every single player has brought that today. Unlike yesterday. No surprise that they have. And both of their 4th decks are Mage on this occasion. And as you can see, Sooni is playing Tempo Mage with Hydras. Meanwhile, SeolDaBi is playing this pretty interesting Priest deck.
Now, I don't think we saw a Tempo Mage yesterday, but it does seem to have blown up in popularity, at least on the ladder recently. It's consistent, or a Tempo Mage, Secret Mage, whatever you want to call it. Now, SeolDaBi's Priest, it's a Dragon Priest.
Okay.
It's not going to be the Highlander Priest by the looks of it. Dragon Priest, if you don't know, it's been pretty popular for a little while now. It runs the Dragon package just because Operative, etc. still so good. But it also has this extra win condition that we can see in SeolDaBi's hand, the Divine Spirit, the inner Fire. It just wins the game at one point.
Sure, yeah, you just occupy the board and then your things have high health totals that you heal up, and eventually you just, if you need the combo, you've got the combo. Gonna be interesting how this one works out. Always a shame you have to trade in your apprentice, but Sooni's hand is so heavy and such a good curve.
Oh, well, I mean, I think it's the Operative. I'm just gonna go out there and say that.
I think it's going to be Operative looks slow suddenly though. Look at the amount of stats that are coming down from Sooni in these next 2 turns.
Yes, but SeolDaBi, Radiant Elemental, Divine Spirit in a fire. I actually think that may be the play. Obviously, coining out the Operative is another way to go here. But if he wants to aggressively push the board, he could get a 12-12 right now.
Yeah, and as it's a secret mage, there might not even be a polymorph hiding.
I'm disappointed.
Me too, but it looks like he's just going to try and set up for a lethal instead, so...
I mean, heck, Mana Worm's pretty good in this deck.
Yeah, he's forcing the 1 to face. He doesn't need many face damage for 24 to be relevant.
No.
And there's 3 more.
So now, how defensively does Sooni have to play this? Because...
But you can't assume this is going to be any bigger than 12-12, but you've got to take it down, I think.
Because that is just the alternate, maybe even the main win condition of Dragon Priest nowadays. It's just bursting with this huge combo.
So he needs to work out who he thinks wins the late game. Does he think that it's inevitable that the Priest gets through? Or does he think the Priest runs out of minions, in which case he can just remove every minion, and then suddenly your opponent's left with a handful of Inner Fires and Divine Spirits that don't do anything? And that's the decision he needs to make now. And he won't have any planning for this because SeolDaBi has brought this deck today out of the blue. Sooni's brought his out of the blue. It's just surprise stuff. That's a weird choice.
Interesting way to go about that, given that SeolDaBi can now just hero power back up the Operative, trade it into the 5-5. We have the potential for a 20-20 here.
I mean, he has the option to play the Twilight Drake, play the Mana Worm, push some damage to face, and just say, you don't kill these, you die. Or, you don't kill me, you die. That's another problem.
The Historian could even go into the Bittertide Hydra. For 3 damage.
Yeah, for the extra 3 instead of the 1. And if the Hydra gets traded, that's 3 more.
This is really difficult. This is where Hearthstone gets really hard for Sooni. Because even knowing both hands, I don't know what the right play is for him here.
I think you hit the Hydra, because if the Hydra's going to trade, you take 3 more. Of course, the Twilight Drake is threatening lethal on its own anyway now.
Yeah, all right, SeolDaBi playing it carefully. Sooni, it does give a very easy trade to Sooni here, because that Hydra, I would think, always goes into the Twilight Drake.
Yeah, something hasn't turned out too great about this turn somewhere.
But the Mana Worm should remain uncontested in theory. A Powered Shield would allow that Mana Worm to become a 20-20.
Yeah. I feel that Sooni might just get into this now, though. If he survives the next turn, and it looks like he will, that Firelands is going to get a lot of work done. I think Sooni would be well advised to just trade off here, go very wide. And I feel like SeolDaBi should have been able to set up better lethals here.
The trading last turn seemed very defensive. He was able to put so much on the board. I don't think there was any way the mage had lethal immediately.
Yeah, that's what he needs to consider. Like, double Frostbolt was only something like 7 short, I feel, so...
Second Bittertide Hydra down now. Shadow Visions isn't able to pick up another Divine Spirit. They've both been drawn. So Powered Shield is about the best he can hope for. Oh, none of these are good right now.
They're not.
I guess Shadow Visions, the ironic thing is here, Shadow Visions in theory buffs up the Mana Worm, but it doesn't, because the Mana Worm's attack is only as good as how high its health is going to be. Oh, there we go. Okay, that'll do it. That actually solves a lot of problems right now.
It does, but there's more problems need solving after this Firelands come out. And it's not far off where Sooni gets in that position we were talking about, where there may be no minions at all for SeolDaBi if he rolls high on this Firelands.
One thing to consider is the fact that Sooni has these 2-3 minions in hand. Oh my goodness! That's lethal! Potion of Madness, Divine Spirit, Inner Fire. What a way to take the first game of the semi-finals.
That's absolutely ridiculous. There can't be many minions that could have made that would do that, but a 2-7 is exactly the wrong shape. And I feel that SeolDaBi just did not deserve that game of Hearthstone, but he gets it, takes a 1-0 lead.
I'm actually speechless. I was just starting to say there is a world where he plays Potion of Madness, takes one of the 2/3s, buffs it up with Powered Shield, buffs it up twice with Divine Spirit, and then lethals for 20 within a fire. That just wasn't necessary when you just get given a 2/7 on a golden platter. I don't know what I just watched.
That's just insane. He was running out of ways to win the game. Any normal minion comes from that Firelands, and he's teetering on the edge of just losing because of losing all of his minions, basically, as the game goes on, and then he's going to find a way to get beat. But no, just win there and then.
So how is Sooni feeling about that right now?
Pretty ill, I would think,
Pretty
right now.
Yeah. There is a lot of money on the line. They pretty much double their prize money by taking this series. So that Firelands portal has cost Sooni a lot, and it wasn't the wrong play.
No, it was definitely the right play.
You don't account for that. I can't think of many other minions that would have given the lethal. I think Validated Doomsayer is one of them.
Just check Twitch chat. They'll have them all listed by now.
Yeah. There cannot have been many. Anyways, that is SeolDaBi's Dragon Priest victory. He has 2 decks left to win with. I didn't catch what the bans were, but his other decks are Mage, Druid, and Rogue.
Right, Mage, Druid, and Rogue. I mean, I have no idea how the bans will work out because both players have got different lineups, most likely. I don't think we're going to see double Dragon Priest.
No.
I don't think we're going to see double Secret Mage, but we might. But so we don't know what the bans are, but all the good classes still to come. They both queued up the 4th class.
All right, it's going to be Temper Mage one more time from Sooni versus Druid. And I didn't catch the mulligan. I think this is probably a Jade Druid, though.
Yeah, we haven't seen much variation Druid. We did see an aggro Druid at the start yesterday, I think. But this looks like Jade.
I am a little surprised that we haven't seen any big Druids yet.
Yeah, this could be big, I guess. In fact, Orange yesterday, when we were commentating on that last game, he was saying that he thought that Kranich had bought Big Druid right to the end. We were saying he was playing around Savage Raw. He was actually just playing around. He was playing around Deathwing.
Yeah.
He was actually playing around Deathwing and Alex Raj and other crazy, massive cards.
Yeah, he hadn't seen any of the cards yet, so.
Any of the, because we could see the handful of Jades from here, so we just assumed Orange knew. But as it happens, he hadn't played a single one.
No. So Sooni does have a few choices available to him right now. He's going to just pass the turn, play 2 into a very good turn 3, or he could just coin out the Kirintor Mage and the counterspell this turn. There's no coin present in SeolDaBi's hand.
Yeah, choosing now to wait for the coin because he's picked up that Hydra.
Yeah.
As you were speaking, basically. And that's going to mean that he's going to go 3 into coin 4. Hydra, like the best card in the deck against Jade Druid. Jade Druid struggles so hard to remove a Hydra. It usually manages to get rid of it, but the damage that it's done just interferes with Jade.
The other thing here is that Sooni has directly targeted the Nourish with that counterspell. Oh, hello. Someone has taken a leaf out of Orange's book.
That's one way to get rid of a Bitter Tide Hydra. Orange, of course, yesterday playing Naturalize and using it to good effect to get tempo in one of his games. But didn't think we'd see it again in this deck from SeolDaBi, but they're allowed to change decks. This has happened to Orange in tournaments like this before, where he's turned up on day 1 with a good deck, and by day 2, everybody's copied it.
So SeolDaBi, that secret has really caused him an issue. Because turn 5 Nourish into ramp and then big stuff later on, that speeds up a Druid's game significantly. And that secret has just completely put a stop to it.
So coin Hydra looks likely here, but then you've got to work out what you want to trade. There's a lovely free value trade available, but you want to protect your Hydra by taking down the 4/3 minion. Can also wait a turn. Medivh's Valet and Ping here is very, very tempting indeed.
Oh, that is good.
Your whole game plan is get that Hydra out quickly, but the Medivh's Valet plan might just be too good.
What about Mana Worm, Medivh's Valet, coin Ping?
Sure, you can do that. You're going to play the Hydra next turn anyway. Let's go for it. That's what he's going to do.
That's a lot of tempo for this turn. And as you say, the Hydra comes down next turn regardless. It looks like that's where Sooni's going with this. Yeah, that's a pretty good play.
Yeah, and SeolDaBi's going to have to start paying attention to this board. He does have that one spreading plague in hand.
I'd love to play it too, but I think he's pretty sure that's a counterspell. Oh, okay. Jade Behemoth off
And
the
that
top
is
there.
a behemoth. That's huge behemoth.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually that big.
That's one giant green elephant right there. He's attacking his deck. What's happening?
Okay. So I guess SeolDaBi, okay, he's got the Jade Blossom. He's not really going to use that to proc the counterspell. Maybe we have to swipe and then naturalize.
Or naturalize first, maybe.
Yeah, but then he doesn't kill the Hydra. Because again, I think SeolDaBi knows that's a counterspell.
Yeah, he does.
It's only Mirror Entity or counterspell usually. As we can see, there's a Spellbender in the deck though.
Yeah, Spellbender is getting more common, I think, but yeah, you don't play around it normally.
Giving the mage more cards is a little bit of a nuisance.
It is, but you're Druid with Nourish in your hand, and you can get a UI later, so that's why the card works in the deck as Naturalize, is you can just get that card advantage, at least level it up or get it back, and use the tempo to your advantage at the same time.
So this is sort of the first difficult turn for Sooni, I think. It's where his hand has sort of made a mess. He's got 3 secrets available to him.
And you hate doing this. You hate drawing cards when you have 7 cards in your hand.
Yeah.
Like, you should have what you need in your hand already.
Next turn, the Medivh's Valet becomes good, but then there's also the option to play the Firelands Portal.
He might never play that card again after game 1.
Don't think there's any punish quite as bad. Maybe Bomb Squads, but...
I don't even know, but he will not be a fan of Firelands Portal going forward if he loses this match.
Do you see how animated SeolDaBi was then when that Mirror Entity procced?
I didn't actually.
He looked relieved.
Right.
But just the way his body was moving, a lot of nervous energy coming from him, I think.
Yeah, we saw this yesterday as well from Samdi. One of he's picked up some hints there. You were saying that maybe the lesser known players are just happier staying in their streamer mode almost.
Yep. If that's the way you play the majority of the time, and it's the way you're used to playing, it can put you off not playing like that.
I mean, you're a streamer. What do you do in tournaments?
I'd have to get into a tournament to answer that question.
So you've won tournaments recently. You won qualifiers and stuff. Do you just play dead serious, or do you?
Yeah, I do, but I feel very stressed at the time.
Right.
Competing is much more difficult than streaming.
So Sooni getting what he can out of this. Deciding to delay the Firelands and just get this board. He is a tempo deck after all. And there you go, using what he can to his advantage. In his mind, he's playing around UI, which means he wants to have as wide a board as possible. As it happens, it's going to be nice for SeolDaBi, but not necessarily absolutely perfect.
Finally, the Nourish gets his chance to come down. There's Ultimate Infestation. No counterspell available to put a stop to that. That could be the big push SeolDaBi needs.
Right, so what does Sooni do this turn? This is the turn where he needs to go wide now. He's not got that protection. He set it up last turn by starting to get the tempo. And he should be able to do a lot of good stuff with his Firelands, this Mana Worm. That looks an auto-play.
Yeah, this turn's pretty straightforward, exactly. I don't think you really seriously consider anything else.
I mean, Mana Worm, the other option, I like the play. I like the obvious play. But if you're looking for another option, you've got Mana Worm, Frostbolt, Arcane Intellect, Ping.
This is where the fact that Sooni has played both counterspells becomes a problem. Because he'd love to be able to play the Spellbender and bluff a counterspell here to prevent Ultimate Infestation. However, the bluff wouldn't work. There's not 3 counterspells in the deck.
And the reason
That's what he wanted last game.
Oh, that's a bit of payback anyway. I feel like he's had the exact 2 extremes of this Firelands. And that, I was going to say, the reason is the tempo that you're going to play the Firelands. That's the sort of tempo you're really looking for.
Firelands Portal is very exciting in Korea.
It is so far, yeah. And there's a lot of damage. Is there even any way of stopping this? He needs to do 16. There will be 7 on the board, assuming the Mana Worm's dead, plus 8 in hand, 1 off. Wait, 6 and 1 and 1 is 8. 6 and 3 and 1 is 10. That'll be lethal next turn.
What is SeolDaBi going to do about this? Ultimate Infestation isn't enough, is it?
Yeah, but he doesn't know there's a Fireball and a Frostbolt, so I feel that Infestation is the play to win here.
What does Spreading Plague Fandral do? Does it actually solve anything?
I don't think it does. Like the Doomsayer, I tried to call it Doomguard yesterday, kills one of the plagues. The Fireball might kill another, who knows? I mean, there's just so many ways through it, and it doesn't do much. But he's going to go for this. He feels that he's just dead too many ways the other way. Well, we're going to find out. Oh, so much to do here.
Sooni has a wealth of choices to make right now.
He really does. I mean, he's only one off lethal. I mean...
No, he can't quite get there, can he? I'm trying to...
Just can't force any damage through, but it's making his decision difficult because he wants to save that burn because it's so close to lethal anyway for face. But if he saves it for face, he doesn't get through all the stuff this turn. And you really don't want to leave that Fandral lying around for a Malfurion.
Yeah. He's going to play one of these spells just to buff that Mana Worm up a little bit more.
I feel that now you've gone this far, you might as well Fireball the Fandral
yeah,
and use your Mana Worm to kill the last Beetle.
Yep.
I think that now you've made this decision, you go the whole way. Right, have you got another Spreading Plague? No.
Yeah, but he has got an Ultimate Infestation. It does just about save SeolDaBi's life, or would, if not for this Spellbender. 16 health, 16 damage on board. This game is over.
Yeah, it's going to be one game more, and Firelands Portal has just decided to make this a best of 3. Neither of those games are fair. Firelands Portal decided them both, and everybody's happy.
That is fair, yeah, that's fair. Firelands Portal doing some crazy things on both sides. No one can be too upset about that.
I still feel that Sooni has had the worst of it, because he was going to beat the Priest there, most likely.
Right.
And he should win the second match against the Druid anyway, but
that's true.
Yeah, overall it's worked out pretty fair. Another scan around this slightly smaller crowd than yesterday, but it is game 1. And the convention is pretty incredible. There are many other games being played around the convention.
There are. We finally got a chance to have a good look around the whole thing a little bit earlier today. Took a look around the other games, and there is so much to see here.
There really is.
They take video games very, very seriously in South Korea.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I mean, we knew this, but when you see it with your own eyes, you just can't. It's my job to describe it. I'm trying, okay, but I can't describe it. It's just too amazing.
Yeah, but over here in the Hearthstone area, there's a lot of excitement in the crowd, especially in this game. I think probably more than the others. These guys want to see what their country has been able to produce in our scene, and we've got some pretty good plays.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well. Like you said, they're taking on the world here. We are guaranteed a Korea versus the world, if you like, final. The 4 invited players, 2 remain. And just the way the draws worked out, the winners have ended up playing each other. So we are guaranteed the dream final of Korea versus one of the invited players.
Yeah. Just trying to look at these lineups, and I wish it would show us the bans again. I think we keep missing it.
I don't think they actually came on our screen. I don't think for once, I don't think it was you and I's fault. 5 damage, draw 5 cards. It's usually you, I's fault. But on this one occasion, it was not.
Yeah, UI wasn't able to do enough last game, so nothing's UI's fault. But let's jump into game number 3 anyway. It's going to be a Druid mirror match. J Druid on... Okay, I take that back. We're finally seeing Big Druid from Sooni.
Big Druid with 2 ramp cards. Make that 3 ramp cards.
And the coin.
And the coin. That's a 4th ramp card. It's basically Innovate that you're given to start with.
Yeah, it is basically Innovate.
Isira. I don't mind having Isira in my opener. Draw yourself some more cards and get in trouble. But you know what's going to be handy here? Naturalize, kind of. Kind of not.
Naturalize is pretty good in this matchup, I think. The big druid's hand does have a habit of getting quite big.
Yep.
Later on in the game, things will get milled. It does take out a 10-mana minion for the price of 1.
But this is going to be brutal. Although SeolDaBi's hand isn't terrible, it's going to be pretty fast for the big druid.
Nice pickup from SeolDaBi, but he would love to play the Wild Growth. He wishes he could play Jade Spirit and Jade Behemoth in the next 2 turns, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah, he's going to be behind for a little while here. Interesting how the meta has developed regarding the big decks, big druid, big priest. We saw Tars play it at Montreal, I want to say, at DreamHack. Possibly Atlanta.
I think that was big priest.
Yeah, he brought big priest and he brought Quest Mage.
Yeah.
And some of those decks were like regarded as a little bit meany at the time.
It was Giants Quest Mage as well.
Yeah, and now those decks are being played, especially the big druid, big priest, as part of the meta chain. You know, part of the meta rotation. Everybody thought the meta had settled, so these decks are coming in as a meta beta some of the time now. Tars, as usual, paving the way.
Sooni getting up to the big numbers now, and hey, there's a Dirty Rat in SeolDaBi's hand.
I don't think that's going to be played this game. The synergy with Naturalize against Big Druid and Dirty Rat does not seem the best.
No. Is there any reason to play it? Do Big Druid ever run Doomsayers? Like maybe if the board got really nasty, then he could play the Dirty Rat and hope that there's a Doomsayer?
Maybe that's what you end up doing, but yeah, not where you want to be with it. Interesting, he feels the need for the Dirty Rat. The Dirty Rat tends to be teched against Priest, and Druid's pretty good against Priest already. In fact, if it wasn't for Druid, I think Priest would be just overpowered. There are those who think it is anyway.
Dirty Rat is also very strong against Quest Mage, though we haven't seen any Quest Mages
Although we haven't
yet.
seen a single one, although there were Quest Mages in some of the previous decks for these players, so that is definitely a thing. Sooni played Quest Mage in the Korean round of 16 and the Korean round of 8, but the round of 4, which was yesterday, obviously when the rest of the world got mixed in, he didn't. So these players, I think SeolDaBi has put that in there for that Quest Mage. That's a good spot.
Yeah, and Sooni has played Temper Mage today, obviously. So, okay, very excited about that Ysera Awakens, and with good reason. It does clear the entire board that SeolDaBi has put together, and yeah, Naturalize finds its target.
Some more cards. Oh dear.
But yeah, Sooni's not going to complain about this. The Lich King can be played with Ysera Awakens next turn to completely demolish the board.
Yeah, and SeolDaBi's just left with a bunch of nothing in his hand.
This
None
game's
of this
over.
is stemming the tide.
This game's over.
You're not an early caller normally. He's on 11.
Okay, that's true. That's true. And the Ysera Awakens puts him down to 6. Double swipe on the other side could actually spin this game right round.
Yeah, so we might see him try and weave an Earthen Scales in at some point.
Maybe, yeah, okay, maybe he can't play the Ysera Awakens.
I think he has to.
If he could play Earthen Scales in the same turn as well, like Ysera Awakens, the Lich King, Earthen Scales, that would fix the problem.
That would fix a lot of problems. He may be just considering Lich King Earthen Scales, I guess.
What about defensive Alexstrasza Earthen Scales?
Oh. No, this is the right play. If you get double swiped,
It is.
good luck to you. Meanwhile, SeolDaBi has this out. Can he draw the swipe? He's already had one stroke of luck.
No, he doesn't get it. And next turn, it's going to be too late. SeolDaBi has no way of removing the Lich King. And that play I described last turn, that defensive Alexstrasza plus Earthen Scales, that is still a possibility.
Yeah.
He could even go
offensive
Alexstrasza and Earthen Scales.
Well, Sooni has the world at his fingertips now. He just has to work out the safest way to end this. I mean, Ultimate Infestation on the 4/4 and just bump the Lich King in isn't the worst idea. But you just burn some cards, but do you care?
No, you just don't. You already have what you need. You have an Alexstrasza in hand. You get a 5/5. You have a Primordial Drake. That's one thing I found when I've played Big Druid myself, is that a lot of the time, I don't really care about burning stuff.
Yeah,
I just don't.
He's going to go with the... Well, I assume it's going to be defensive Alex. He doesn't need it to be an offensive Alex. He wins with all this big stuff anyway over the next 2 or 3 turns.
Yep.
So I assume this will be defensive.
He can go either way.
Yeah, he can.
In the real world, he can go either way. He's not even sure himself. Look at this.
Yeah, it's really close. I think he should heal himself, personally. There's no reason to try and finish the game a turn earlier when you might find a way to lose it. But I don't care. This is fine.
But how does he lose it with 15 health?
Yeah.
It's almost like he's played a defensive Alexstrasza as well.
Yeah, it's insane. And he's in a great spot, obviously. SeolDaBi doing what he can to make some dent in this board, but not going to be enough. Have one more, Bosch.
Spreading Plague, not the most relevant card Sooni could pick up. It's going to be, 7 off lethal this turn. Ultimate Infestation is 2 off lethal.
Yeah, just infest the 5/5 for me.
Yeah.
He's got to work out what that card is in SeolDaBi's hand. He doesn't know, obviously.
He's never going to know. Again, unless SeolDaBi plays it as a Hail Mary to try and get a Doomsayer.
He's actually just infesting the face.
Well, there's no amount of burst damage that kills Sooni next turn, so why not?
He's got the swipe, so that's going to be that next turn. And it is going to be 2-1 to Sooni. Already won the team championship this year. Won 2 team championships this year.
Again, that's the HTC,
Yeah.
not HCT.
Always read your notes carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Luckily, we did.
Very different tournaments.
Indeed. So we're just waiting really for this particular game of Hearthstone to come to an end.
There's honestly not that much more we can say about it. Big Druid is favored in this matchup. It gets bigger things out faster than the Jade Druid does. It's sort of similar to the old Silence Priest versus Jade Druid matchup, where both of these decks just got to their bigger things at different rates. Silence Priest was able to get big 20/20s out before the Jade cards got past 6/6/7/7, which is why the Silence Priest used to be favored. The Big Druid versus Jade Druid matchup works in a similar vein.
I'm just staring at the screen, hoping to spot the ban this time around. It's going to be important. Sooni, 1 deck left. It's going to be either his Rogue or his Priest.
Yes.
Again, you can see the 4 games there at the top right of the screen. That is 4 different sections of many, many people playing one game. Or 4 separate games.
We may have made a mistake yesterday when it comes to Sooni's Priest, which we are about to see. It's something that Orange actually pointed out to us after we'd casted it.
Right.
He made a strange mulligan.
He did. He, in his Silence Priest, he threw away a Raza, which it was game 1 of the day, I think, and we were getting set up. New arena, saying how great the place was.
We may have even missed the mulligan entirely.
This Raza just got thrown away. We assumed it was Highlander Priest. I think I saw it because I was calling it as Highlander Priest when there's a Divine Spirit in hand. And we went on and we sort of blanked it out. So we think it's interesting. For some reason, there's a Raza in this deck.
Yeah, so there's only a number of reasons that makes sense. One of them is that it could be the experimental Hemet Jungle Hunter Benedictus deck that we've seen experimented with in the past. The idea being that you run lots of minions that cost less than 4 mana. You sort of have 1-win condition there with the silence mechanic, but then you draw Hemet, you blow up your deck, you play your combo pieces, and then if you run Benedictus as well, you steal your opponent's deck and you get the Raza Madness.
Yeah, and you don't miss the combo because it's only a 3-card combo. They're the only 3 cards left in your deck.
Yeah.
Very interesting combo if he is running that. We don't know, but there is a Raza in this deck, so he's at least running combo, almost certainly. And I have seen people play that just as a second win condition. One problem Silence Priest has is it can just run out of minions. And so you might just play it to shoot down when you run out of minions. But first of all, he's got to be playing the same deck. We don't know that for sure.
Well, we've just seen double Power Word Shield. So we know that it's not strictly a Highlander deck.
That would be a really bad Highlander deck. It'd be the sort of deck that Ben from the UK would play.
Okay, there's the Hemet. We got there, and there's Raza as well. So this works out very nicely. Obviously, Raza has to be played after Hemet. Hemet blows up all of the duplicates in the deck so that Raza definitely gets its ability afterwards. I don't know how heavy this deck will be, so how many cards above 4 mana there are. Like you said, it's going to have Raza, Anduin, maybe a Dragonfire Potion.
And I don't know if we'll see any of that stuff because this deck's pretty good anyway against Druid.
Oh, so you're suggesting that Sooni may not blow up his deck?
He may not. He may not have to go for it. He will if it comes to it. He'll have a second option, but we may just see him try and just stick everything on the board and just say to the Druid, which isn't known for its removal, although it does have Spellbreaker in hand, can you deal with a 2020 piece of nonsense?
It depends how the first few turns go, but I will say, Sooni's hand is very good for the blowing up the deck win condition.
Sure.
The fact that he then doesn't have to draw Raza after blowing up his deck.
Yep, I do agree, but... And he hasn't got a minion apart from Raza and Hemet in his hand. That doesn't help.
Like he can play Hemet and then next turn play Raza and play both powered shields.
Oh, there's Anduin.
Okay. Yeah, there's a very clear win condition here, I think. The only question really now is, does he run Benedictus? And depending on how much armor SeolDaBi can get, that could make all the difference, because SeolDaBi just allows the damage to keep... Sorry, Benedictus just allows the damage to keep going.
Yeah, let's see how he does. This is going to be so interesting to see. Sooni obviously in a good spot. They can't change their decks before the finals, so the proverbial cat is well and truly out of the bag now. The Sooni's finalist opponent, if he does get there, will know what this deck is. But like we said, Orange had already called it. Orange had worked it out from the mulligan that we blinked on.
Right. All right, so Sooni going to work to draw more of his deck right now.
Well, that should help.
That's really good. There can't be many cards left in the deck after Hemet does its job, though. Like, we're talking like Dragonfire Potion, and that's it.
Interesting, he doesn't play the Radiant, which would have enabled him to go pretty crazy. Saving it all back.
I don't even know if this deck runs Velen.
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either.
It's just extra clutter that you don't need. When you're playing combo decks, you tend to thin out the clutter.
Well, the Spellbreaker going to put a stop to that Northshire Cleric madness. But Sooni probably not too annoyed about that. It's almost just bait.
And here we go.
Look at that.
Have fun, ladies and gentlemen.
Goodbye, deck.
Didn't like you anyway, deck.
2 cards left, maybe 3.
Yeah, it's fewer than 6, that's all we know. Won't be many, though. We know that as well.
So I'm thinking, what are the other ways that this deck can continue to last? So Benedictus is one. Obviously, you take the cards from your opponent's deck. You've already played Raza and Anduin, so it's just constant damage. Another card is Elise.
Okay.
Imagine this. He draws Elise. He can play that. He can Shadow Visions the pack. Oh, that could have been bad.
That could have been hilarious. And SeolDaBi actually, again, we talked about these guys do know their preferences, they do know their opponents, so I was talking about that quest mage, but maybe SeolDaBi was also preparing for this.
Yep.
He knew the timing of that play absolutely spot on.
Yep.
And he's shaking his head, it was there, and he was trying to hit it.
He doesn't know how low his chances were, though. He only had a 1 in 4.
He did. But it would have pretty much won the game.
So would hitting Hemet earlier on. It would have helped.
Yeah.
Because it would have just meant Sooni had all these dead cards in his hand.
Well,
the
I mean,
Raza
still
that
in the traditional way, but yeah.
Well, he couldn't play the Raza. He would have had
just
to
play
wait.
it.
As a 5/5?
Yeah. I think you just play it. I know you don't get the ability, but you play it and try and win the 2020 Raza.
Okay.
I think. If you lose your Hemet, I think.
Oh, so when you say the traditional way, you mean the Silence Priest way?
Yeah.
I thought you meant traditional Highlander way.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah, I mean the traditional Silence Priest way. You just build it up and
Yeah,
smash them with a big minion. But it wouldn't have been any fun for him. But this is fun for him at the moment, but It is incredibly, SeolDaBi has found ways to fight for this game.
Dragonfire Potion's going to do some work over the next couple turns. There's the Elise. Okay, so Elise plus Shadow Visions. That is a lot of extra firepower for this Anduin coming down right now.
Yeah, Anduin's just going to tidy everything up.
Oh my goodness.
And that's game, basically.
The thing about the Elise's pack as well is that it actually has a strong chance of giving you another Elise. So
Right.
we have the potential of maybe even 3 packs opened.
That would be pretty silly. Meanwhile, SeolDaBi's got to try and develop a board.
Well, he's doing
and
a
the
good job
Jades
of
are
that.
getting slowly bigger.
The problem is Dragonfire Potion just annihilates everything.
It does, but this is like
Lyra? Lyra as well?
All right.
So I think this turn is Dragonfire Potion and ping the Behemoth. Oh. I stand corrected. We're going to play Elise.
All right. I'm just saying all right at the moment. So is there no Benedictus in this, or did I miss it?
No, there's no Benedictus in this deck.
Okay. That's really weird.
I think Elise is run instead.
Sure.
It does the same thing, right? It gives you loads of extra cards.
Yeah.
It probably does it a little bit better as well. I like this a lot. It's always funny to see Benedictus, but Elise just seems like a more stable way of achieving the same win condition.
It does, but you do have to actually win with it, and Druid's capable of getting armor here.
True.
With no Velen, the damage is going to be slow. With Ultimate Infestation, that's 5 more armor.
Yeah.
If he draws Malfurion, that's 3 armor a turn.
It's turned into a very interesting game. Lyra with the pack and with whatever spells come from the pack, and Radiant Elemental and Inner Fire can also do some crazy things.
I think Sooni might be in trouble here. I think even though everything's gone his way, with no Benedictus to keep the draw coming, I think SeolDaBi's plan is very clear, is get Malfurion, play Malfurion, and every one of your cards is counted per turn. You've got to get more than 1 per turn in.
Well, this has to be Dragonfire Potion turn, right?
Yeah.
Surely there's no alternative now. Sooni can play a pack too if he wants to.
Okay. So now he can actually get to work on the serious business of hitting face.
Dark Reaper, okay.
I'm not even sure he needed to shoot the 3-1 there. I think I might have just gone face.
Well, I think next turn is actually maybe even Radiant Elemental, Lyra, pack, go.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff he's going to get.
It is, and a lot of stuff he'll be able to play immediately. The chance of getting a cheap spell from a pack is pretty high. The chance of getting cheap spells from Lyra, pretty high. There's probably a lot that he'll be able to do next turn. If he had a second Radiant, I think this game would be over.
Can he get his Malfurion? Can he not get it burned? He's burning 2 cards, 1 this turn, 1 next turn. If Malfurion goes, I think it makes a big difference.
That's no Malfurion. That's no Malfurion.
So here's the turn that Sooni should get a good turn on.
Just
but
go, go, go.
It can go to pieces. He's still taking down the minions.
He can't afford to waste time by thinking. He has to just go. We may see the rope burn here. He's not going to have much time to
I
think.
feel that he's done this a lot of time. He knows he's got enough damage to kill the minion. Killing this minion isn't obvious, but Sooni's played this deck all the way through the qualifiers, so I'm going to go with him knowing what happens and he's got enough stuff here.
I liked pinging the face there because you don't know what the pack's going to get you. You could always ping the minion after.
I agree with you, but
Scales.
I'm gonna stay on the side of the guy who's played this deck a million times.
But it doesn't matter what order you ping in. Like, you're still going to ping more.
Sure.
You could have always pinged the minion after is what I mean. But
Yep.
Earthen Scales and is it Lost in the Jungle? Both of these cards will generate more spells. That's more damage, but you need to go, Sooni. He can't afford to wait any longer. Opening the second pack. Only gets 2 cards from it. What? I don't know what is happening right now, but that
Just
does
stop.
not feel like it was the right play to me.
No, he's got a powered shield he can't play. Is that a second Hemet in his hand? I don't
He has to play the Earthen Scales before Lyra dies. Something has gone horribly wrong.
And SeolDaBi's going to make a monstrous board. Wow. Now he's got Naturalize is going to be funny. I'd naturalize everything. Naturalize things.
I think Sooni made some horrible mistakes that turn. Opening the second pack made no sense because he could have easily generated 2 more spells from Lyra and potentially kept going that way, then used up his stuff, then opened the pack, got 5 more cards rather than 2. I just think that went very wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right. At the start of the turn, you were saying something. I'm like, no, you don't know. Sooni knows better. He's played this loads of times. You're a caster. But you're right. That turn went to pieces in the middle. He somehow drew like 3 cards, opened a pack he could have opened anyway, burned 3 cards effectively, and didn't hit SeolDaBi in the face with his limited resources.
But the thing that really bothers me is actually not using the Earthen Scales there, because the amount of extra cards he could have generated and used immediately. What if that gave him a Circle of Healing? That's 4 more, or 2 more damage,
yep.
Sorry. What if he then got a Binding Heal? That's 2 more damage. Like,
and now he's hitting damage into the face and building up a board, but is it going to be too little too late? With no Velen, the process is slower. But it's still chipping away. SeolDaBi taking a sip of water. That's usually the sign of who the players thinks is winning. There's Malfurion.
There it is, not burned. And SeolDaBi knows he has 1 win condition here, and that win condition is gain armor and fatigue your opponent.
Yeah, just don't die. You're going to win.
Oh, it's just lethal. Never mind. I take back what I said about gaining armor. I honestly think Sooni could have won that game.
Yeah, I don't know if he could have won it, but he could have put up a much better fight. Something went terribly wrong there, and he's got to play the deck again now.
It's just the value of the potential unlimited resources that Lyra can give you.
Yeah.
The actual percentage chance of getting a 0, 1, or 2 mana spell from Lyra is very high. He could have fit in another 10 damage that turn, I think, then much more from the pack soon after. I don't know. I want to watch that game back later.
Well, SeolDaBi's got Mage, and in the round of 16, he did play Quest Mage. That's the only information we have on him playing Mages. So I would imagine it's going to be Quest Mage, but let's see what they come up with.
This has been a stressful series so far.
You okay, Fal? You're okay. You hang in there.
Starting with a Gurabashi Berserker Firelance Portal, and now that turn, which I'm no expert on Hemet Priest.
It looked
not
wrong.
in the slightest.
It did not look good.
But I'm pretty certain that we had some misplays there.
There was mana available and cards weren't being produced. They weren't even drawn. They weren't being created. And somewhere along the line there, that went wrong.
I'll say this much, right? I'm looking forward to getting back to where the players are and talking to them about the game and seeing what they think.
I don't know. Some ways they're pretty harsh. Zigzo's back there. If there were mistakes made there, Zigzo, the guy who pings his own acolyte in a fatigue war, is not going to be impressed with everybody at all.
All right, as we can see, it is going to be Quest Mage. You know, that's one of the best things about quests, Lorinda, is that as casters, we know immediately what the deck is because it comes up in the first draw.
This is true. And something that I've missed many, many times. Like, I wonder if it's Quest Mage, Neil, there's no quest there. Like, oh, yeah. But it's got all the same cards. Yeah, but it needs a quest. So, Quest Mage is basically, it plays like Freeze Mage, let's face it. You slow it down, you make sure your opponent doesn't kill you. And on the other side, Sooni has cards that kill you fast. So,
yeah, this is a battle for speed. The problem is, Quest Mage usually wins at around turn 10. I don't think it often takes longer than that.
Yeah, and so to explain what just happened there, he mulliganed away the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the Block. They're 2 of the most important cards in the entire deck. But they're of no use until about turn 8 or 9.
They don't draw cards, so...
They don't draw cards, they're the cards you want to draw into. They don't freeze boards. And that's exactly what SeolDaBi needs to do, is he's going to be freezing some of this stuff so it doesn't get out of hand. He has already got a problem with this Northside Cleric, though.
Yeah, that Cleric's going to start drawing. The problem I keep coming back to when I think about this matchup is that at the very earliest, Anduin comes down on turn 7. Probably comes down on turn 8 or later. By then, the Quest Mage is nearing its win condition.
Oh, if it goes to Anduin mode, I agree. Quest Mage is a big
so
favourite.
you're thinking maybe
you've got to kill them with a combo.
Okay, good point. I hadn't caught that, yeah.
With the original combo, with
the Silence
Priest combo. Yeah,
right, yeah.
If you go down to Anduin mode, anyone who's played Highlander Priest gets mage a number of times. It can win, but it's just so hard.
So let's forget that Raza, Hemet, and Anduin are even in the deck, and let's just consider this a Silence Priest for at least the next few turns, and see what Sooni can do with it. He really wants that Northshire Cleric to live, because if he can get a good circle, that will dramatically speed up his win condition.
Yeah, it really will, and he didn't bother wasting time healing there. He's just sort of getting on with it, like you say, trying to get a big circle. And he's going to need to get on with it because this hand is coming together for SeolDaBi fairly rapidly. Still hasn't had a chance to play the quest, still no Kabbalist. Oh dear. SeolDaBi could have just pinged his own minion. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so Raza is a dead card, but Sooni's everything else is looking solid. That ice block looks pretty important to me.
So much damage coming in next turn. Can he do anything to deal with his 3-8? That's what the trade was all about, but the circle was just absolutely brutal there.
SeolDaBi can freeze the board, but is he that afraid? Probably not.
No, you have to wait till the lethal's there. You can only allow for one Divine Spirit. If they've got two, just tough luck, you lose.
This is tough. I think you take Simulacrum, but I can see the logic in Kabbalist Tome as well.
Yeah, it depends whether you're going to go about your business or whether you're going to try and stop your opponent.
Yeah,
I know they're sort of interlinked, but he's got quite a lot of his own business going on already, so he went for the Tome.
All right, 20 damage coming in right now. 24 with the minions as well, so SeolDaBi is going to have 3 health remaining.
Yeah, he's got a block and 1 freeze. There's no direct damage in the Priest deck, unless you count in a fire. What he wants to do is he wants to play Kabbalist Tome, so I feel like you freeze this turn, then next turn you Kabbalist Tome and block and hope to find some answers. Or you stare at the ceiling and start crying.
Yeah, I'd probably do the latter.
Yeah, SeolDaBi's trying not to do the latter, but it's definitely the mode he's thinking of right now.
You're not even really safe to just freeze this board, because, I mean, Mind Blast is a card that exists, right?
Yeah.
You don't know it's not in the deck.
Well, you're also dead to silence. If you're dead to silence the 3/4 and just attack with it.
That's true.
You're dead to a lot of things here.
So
you've got to work out which thing you're not dead to and try and beat that.
Do you ever win if you just play Ice Block this turn?
I don't think you do. I think they just hit you in the face and you're in the same position next turn.
Yeah. Bit late to be drawing cards, but let's go.
Maybe now you do, because now you can draw another Ice Block. Maybe now you can get out of it with Ice Block this turn.
Yeah, Arcanologist buys him an extra turn. Okay, all right, all right. Maybe he can get another Ice Block from the Kabbalist Tome?
Well, he fancies it suddenly, you know. But
Shadow Reaper Anduin also going to make life difficult if SeolDaBi's just relying on Ice Blocks.
I think maybe that the Frost Nova just gets worse as the game goes on. So maybe you Frost Nova first and shut your eyes and hope there's no silence. But
I mean,
he would have lost to the Shadow Visions.
With perfect knowledge, he should have Frost Nova the turn before the Divine Spirits and Inner Fire were played.
Sure, yeah, you've got to take some sort of line.
But you can't predict that.
Right. He would have lost if he had frozen because Shadow Visions will find the silence.
I mean the turn before that.
Yeah, but sure. Yeah, the turn before was definitely too early. Last turn, it was an option, and now it's just kind of dead. So how can he get the combo down? Can he go off in a hurry? Is there anything he can do, like playing this Sorcerer's Apprentice now, then next turn starting off with Reflection? I don't think it's enough. So Ice Block, no, sorry, so freeze now an Apprentice, then next turn Ice Block, Reflection. No, it just doesn't add.
Well, he could play the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the Ice Block and the Frost Nova this turn.
Then he just trades into the Apprentice, that's the problem.
No, because he frozen it as well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that might have been okay. That might have been okay. He's going to try and get it from here, though. Try and get a third block.
That's not good.
Now he overdraws. He's on 10 cards, so...
Even if he draws Primordial Glyph right now, it's not going to do it. There is no card in his hand that saves him from the next turn. There's the silence. Sooni is ready for Frost Nova.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a way out for SeolDaBi, especially considering he doesn't draw a card next turn. He hasn't even played the quest yet, hasn't had time. And it's looking like Sooni is going to be the representative in the finals for Korea.
That is going to be game. SeolDaBi has no way of generating more cards, except Antonidas, but that's not what I mean.
So look at what he's done, though. He's set it up this turn, so he can do all of this stuff, freeze the board, and then we know he's dead because of silence. But then next turn he could carry on and have the combo go off. He would actually be in a fairly good position.
Well, next turn he'd just... Oh no, he wouldn't just win because he's one source.
So we look at his ordering the turn before, and we can see how good it was.
Yeah.
It played to some outs. It's just a case that it's not going to happen.
In theory, if SeolDaBi survived this turn,
right,
and his next draw was a Molten Reflection, that would just be game. Molten Reflection, Antonidas. Oh, Antonidas first, sorry, then Molten Reflection.
And other things can go your way here. You can draw some burn and start burning the minions, and then wait one more turn. Yeah. That sort of thing, but not going to happen.
There you go, silencing the Northshire Cleric. The one damage that Sooni needs to take this series. He is going to be playing against Orange or Pavel in the finals as the Korean representative in Korea versus the world.
Sooni into the final. SeolDaBi, a combination of happy at his results throughout this tournament. They have played multiple rounds. I mean, something like 13 matches just to get to this stage, the Koreans. So he can reflect on a good tournament when the pain's gone. He put out Zigzo yesterday by reverse sweeping, take away a lot of happy memories, but it's Sooni, Hearthstone Team Championship winner, who is actually going to be the one in the final.
That was an intense series, and Sooni, I think, is going to appreciate the break that he gets now before the finals. But you guys don't go anywhere. We have a big game coming up next. Most of you watching from North America, Europe, wherever else in the world,
Russia.
You'll be looking forward to this one. It's going to be Orange versus Pavel after this short break.